Hello, church family. Welcome to the Oakland Center's Wednesday night midweek Oasis service. It is 7 o'clock and it is Wednesday, June 16th. So I welcome everyone that's here. Glad to see all of you. So, what is our Oasis? It's a place where we can be together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. Reverend Jeff introduced our Wednesday night services in the satsang style with the intention that they be informal, intimate, and rich. We have a speaker speak on a topic for about 20 minutes or so, and then they open it up for that discussion. Informal, intimate, and rich. And that's our intention. And as we discussed during the break, our intentions definitely may take a while, but they get here. So our intention for sure is that you'll have a good evening tonight, sharing in community with our church family. Our annual theme is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision, and our monthly theme is The Soul's Call. And here at the Oakland Center, we're also celebrating Gay Pride Month. If you're here for the first time, we welcome you. We always love first-time folks gathered to be with us. A little later, I'll tell you how you can be better connected with us. I might tell you right now, we have a newsletter you can sign up on to receive on the website. So if it's your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Please know to improve the quality of our transmission tonight in this digital church we're having. You will be muted, both your camera and your microphone. And with that, I say we are ready to roll. We have a wonderful speaker tonight for us, and his theme is What's Evolution Without Love? What's evolution without love? And he's prepared a pretty dynamic program for us tonight, and his name is Sam Ladion. And Sam is one of our members. It's his first speaking appearance tonight in honor of our Pride celebration. And he classifies himself as a seeker. And he's been at the Oakland Center for over 3 years. He also has a secret voluntary relationship with Margot that I'm going to share. No longer a secret. He's one of her famous garden waterers. So we're so grateful that you keep our garden fresh and watered so it will bloom through the summer, Sam. So thank you for all that you do to volunteer and assist at the center, especially for tonight. So with that in mind, Sam, if you're ready, we can open up in prayer.
Sure, thank you, Paul. I would like to invite us all to take a deep breath and just settle in and feel the seats where you're sitting on, the flow of the breeze, if you have any breeze during this hot summer early evening, and just being present right here, right now, where you are, knowing that there is only one life, one divine mind, and one breath. And that breath is my breath right here, right now. So is each and every one listening tonight, present in this container, and also listening on a recorded line at some point. Knowing that this service is meant to deliver words and inspiration and knowledge and inspiration to be the best of whose and who we are, not only individually, but as a collective group as well. Grateful that it is so and it is done. And so I release this word, and so it is. As I begin my presentation tonight, I would like to recognize the land that I'm sitting on, which is the land of the Chochenyo, or Chochenyo, which is one of the divisions of the indigenous Ohlone people, the Native Americans who first occupied this piece of the Bay Area. And I also would like to recognize as I have here a lit candle. In silence, I would like to hold space as we have just celebrated June 12th, the 5-year anniversary of the Orlando Pulse nightclub shooting, where 49 individuals' lives were cut short and a lot more who were injured. I also would like to give space to a lot of LGBTQ youth that, according to some survey, there are over 40% of these youth have seriously attempted committing suicide. I also give space to all of our transgender brothers and sisters, mostly transgender women, are mostly African American and Latinx,
Earlier.
whose lives were also cut short because of folks with privilege and power. So this is a space that I'd like to invite in consciousness in this container right now. And in your private spaces, I would like to invite you to also invite people close to you as we recognize the sacredness of this hour. So my presentation tonight, thanks to Constance and the ecclesiastical team for inviting me, the whole process of coming up with a topic is an evolutionary experience for me. In my core presentation is what Reverend Jeff has said. Love is the greatest power there is. Life knows how to run itself. Life is always moving toward the best expression of itself. One French philosopher, Jesuit priest, and paleontologist by the name of Teilhard de Chardin, he says, love is a sacred reserve of energy. It is like the blood of spiritual evolution. So as I start gathering materials, reading books and articles online or in print, it made me, my energy was defaulting into what best outcome can I provide to make this delivery an effective presentation, not only to give satisfaction for myself, but to provide service to this community, beloved community. And in my own reflection, I noticed I was so focused on the outcome, on the product. And as days passed, my reflection led me, well, we are celebrating Pride Month. And what is Pride Month, by the way? What is the essence of this month that we are celebrating in? I am reminded that it is this time of the year to shine and to celebrate authentic self, to celebrate diversity and inclusivity, not only within the LGBTQIAA community, but to all of us individuals who celebrate authenticity. Because in my mind, authenticity is the DNA of our being. As I continue to contemplate, I reset my mind to the source, or whatever you call it. It could be the spirit, the first cause, it could be the power, it could be the I am, or simply I call it God. This core that is consciousness gathered all the minute particles that science could ever fathom and discover, from ions to atoms, molecules, chemical elements, compounds that adhere, coalesce, combine, or even vibrate with each other through time to create, to transform. It is the beginning, the spark of something new, a transformation. It is also beginning of something and ending of another thing. I would like to share with you a quote from Ernest Holmes. And he says, evolution is the time and the process to which an idea unfolds to a higher state of manifestation. And since ideas are divine realities, evolution will go on forever. Now, this last line is what really hit me. Evolution is an effect. It follows involution. So I invite us just to settle with these words, and how does this impact me and all of us in this tonight's presentation? Now, Ernest continues, any further evolution will be through self-recognition. At the back of every human being is the whole of life, surging to express itself. This is what is known as the divine urge. It is that instinctive, omniscient I am, always pushing on and up. It can only express for you and me as it flows through each and every one of us. The person who has the greatest power is the one who completely recognizes to be one with this infinite mind. Now, the second part of my presentation, I've chosen 7 individuals who represent a slice of the Pride community. And my invitation is to discover within ourselves, what is evolution without love? We'll now present a short video clip made by Brandon Kelly. And I would like to request Peter to play that video. Thank you.
Really?
Thank you, Peter. That movie really hits me every time I watch it. Couple of words, just hi, Allie, just hit me to the core. So what is evolution without love? I would like to share another presentation. Sally Ride. She became the first American woman to go into space when she flew on the Space Shuttle Challenger on June 18, 1983. She made 2 shuttle flights and later became a champion for science education and a role model, not only for girls, but for all generations after generation. According to Lynn Sher, who wrote Sally's biography, Sally was very good at keeping secrets. During her post-NASA years, she regularly wrote and reviewed classified government material on high-profile commissions. She died in 2012 of pancreatic cancer, a diagnosis hidden from all but a tiny handful of family and close friends. But the most surprising revelation was the one that came at the end of her obituary, that for 27 years, she'd been in a loving relationship with another woman, Tam O'Shaughnessy. Reaching for the stars is evolution. NPR writes, those who knew Bayard Rustin remember his charisma, his kindness, his slight British accent, and his tendency to break out in song. And they remember him as a master strategist. Rustin had been organizing protests, marches, and sit-ins, spreading the gospel of nonviolent resistance long before Dr. Martin Luther King came on the national stage. In fact, Rustin's surviving partner, Walter Neagley, describes him as a mentor to Dr. King. Just a few weeks before the march, Rustin had come under attack. He was an EC target, a socialist, a pacifist who had refused to fight in World War II and went to prison for it. And a gay Black man at the time of intense homophobia, he'd been attacked before for being gay, each time forcing him to retreat out of the spotlight. Courage is evolution. Esther Chu writes, Margaret Chung attended the USC Medical School, where she was the only woman and person of color in her class. While in medical school, Chung called herself Mike and wore masculine clothing. When Chung graduated in 1916, she became the first American-born Chinese female doctor. However, she was initially denied residencies and internships in United States hospitals, as well as medical missions in China, likely because of her race and gender. In the early 1920s, Chung moved to San Francisco to work with Chinese Americans in the city's Chinatown. She also helped establish the first Western hospital in the city. Chung recruited pilots as part of the famous Flying Tigers, a unit of aviators that defended China during the war. The network grew to over 1,000 men who referred to her as Mom Chung and to themselves as her fair-haired bastards. Chung became well-known throughout the country. Fortitude is evolution. Assigned female or male at birth in San Angelo, Texas, Felicia Elizondo struggled with bullying, molestation, and gender identity issues. Her father, a sheep herder, died when she was 3. And from the age of 5, she knew she was different. At age 14, she moved to San Jose, California with a gay man and began to spend time in the Tenderloin district in San Francisco in her teens. At age 18, Elizondo joined the US Navy and volunteered to serve in the Vietnam War, thinking she would either get killed or come to terms with her gender identity. If the military doesn't make me a man, nothing will. After serving in Vietnam for 6 months, she confessed that she was gay. She was interrogated by the FBI and dishonorably discharged in 1965. She later successfully petitioned to have her discharge changed to honorable. In the 1960s, Elizondo was a patron of Jean Compton's cafeteria in San Francisco, where the Compton's cafeteria riot, an LGBT community uprising, occurred in 1966, 3 years before the Stonewall riots in New York. Elizondo transitioned to female in 1974 while working as a long-distance operator. She worked at a number of other jobs, including receptionist, clerk, and nurse's aide. She was also a sex worker for a time. She performed as a drag queen for charity and at gay clubs under the name Felicia Flames. As a Latina, she worked with other transgender women of color to combat racism in the community. Felicia transitioned just last month. Passion is evolution. Born in 1849 to the North America Zuni nation, Wiwa was one of the most famous Zuni Ihamana, meaning two-spirit. Though a contemporary term, the two-spirit concept has deep roots within indigenous cultures. It refers to those individuals who occupy a more fluid gender role in their community, one that transgresses conventional notions of male and female. The two-spirit had an accepted place within Native societies. Theirs was considered a sacred way of knowing. Wiwa is an exalted example of what it meant to be two-spirit. Trained in traditional crafts, her textiles and pottery were exquisite. Simultaneously, he performed masculine tribal roles like hunting and judicial functions. Wiwa moved among all members of the Zuni community. They not only accepted Wiwa's gender identity, but revered her gift for spiritual leadership. It is the practice of spiritual gifts and evolution. Now, last, I'd like to show you a video clip of the Reverend Troy Perry, the founder of the Metropolitan Community Church.
Okay, let's see. Here it is. I never felt so alone. I just broke down crying. I cut both of my wrists and just hoped I would die. I tell people today, I'm eternally grateful because I didn't die that way. And I remember that God spoke to me then in that still small voice in the mind's ear and said to me, Troy, I love you. And I want to tell you something. You're my son. I don't have stepsons and daughters.
It was that kind of a time of everything was in uproar. Life was bigger than life.
Gay power!
You have your name published in the newspaper. People would lose their jobs, their children. People would commit suicide.
But I heard the comments that were made. Faggot, queer, pervert, child molester.
They arrested him that night. His ministry was founded or was sparked from that arrest.
We're not going to be oppressed anymore.
There's this sort of consciousness that was beginning to emerge, and that the light at the end of the tunnel was freedom.
You really don't have to take this anymore from anybody. And when you get that going, you have a revolution.
Will you welcome Reverend Troy Perry?
They were the homophobic kind that would say nothing personal, Sheila, but I think you're all spawn of the devil.
I must say first that I'm a homosexual.
Here was a very charismatic leader that our community desperately needed.
Troy walked the walk and talked the talk. What we do in our bedroom, I should never have to explain to anybody.
He knows how to preach. He knows how to talk. And he knows how to, get people's attention.
I'm afraid my private parts are my own, and what I want to do with them is my business and not the law.
No matter what the backlash is, whether it's from our community, the straight community, the religious community, he does not deviate from what he believes in.
People in this society weren't quite ready for that.
People becoming more militant in their actions against the homosexual community in this country.
I bring religion up. I bring God up. I bring church of any kind up.
My closet burned down a long time ago. I set it on fire. Amen.
An awful lot of gays saying you're making it bad for the rest of us.
I have prayed to my God, asked my God, and I have the assurance some things are going to happen.
I said, Reverend Troy Perry, and he said, call me Troy. I said, I know that we are going to do things together.
It was this a great big teddy bear, who just wanted to come and talk to you.
There was this man who had this radical idea to start a welcoming church of all things, and an evangelical church at that.
When he started MCC, I was proud of it because I felt like that he had really found what he was supposed to be doing.
He spoke church, religion, and God in a vocabulary that I understood.
I don't cease being a sexual person just because I've become a Christian.
He's given this gay community a door. You'll find whatever you're looking for in your life through that door. I swear to God, that's what I did.
He really believed in what he was saying, and he really believed in freedom for gay people, and he really believed in the rights to be Christian.
What's astonishing to me is we're talking about a man whose life and ministry has forever changed the Christian church.
The Church of Jesus Christ can never be the same again.
In our community, we reach out and we touch each other, and we love each other.
What does the Bible say? When you have faith, you can move mountains. We ain't moving mountains, but I think Troy, anybody closest could do it.
They may burn us out. They might run us out of town. They might even shoot some of us. But praise God, with God's help, we won't be afraid anymore.
Thank you, Peter. Wow. A lot of memories come flood through me as I watch that video coming from an MCC church myself before going to Oakland CSL. I remember Harry Hay, probably some of you know who he was. He was one of the fathers of the Radical Fairies, one of the earliest recorded gay groups in the United States. He had this to say. He says, I am another you, and you are another me. It's a practical and compassionate understanding that we humans are in fact a miraculous expression of the one consciousness. So as I continue to reflect tonight, I'm thinking about the word involution. It is a process where I start to pause And yes, sometimes it's a long pause. Coming out to the world for me means peeling off layers of conditioning experiences from family, friends, church, school, society, and the media. And sometimes with the peeling off of this exoskeleton, a scar is formed. And with that thick outer layer of scar tissue, we know that deep inside there is growth of cells. The healing of subdermal tissues are taking place. It is the going within. One of the spiritual principles of the centers of spiritual living, which I have pulled out from the poster, is heaven. Now, my upbringing taught me that heaven is a place up there in the universe that when I am good, behave well, and accept Jesus Christ, I will go up there to heaven. However, in our principle, it states that heaven is that state of awareness of my true nature, of our true nature. We experience our true nature to the degree we become conscious of it. We actively seek to know the true nature of every individual and celebrate each individual's unique expression of it. Even, I remember Reverend Sidney Steen says, "Everywhere I look, I see the face of God." And that to me is the essence of Pride Month. Now, as a practice, my involution or going within is self-awareness. It is this spiritual practice that illuminates our alignment with each of the signs of my principles. The practice of being conscious of one's motivation, internal dialogue, and hidden beliefs. It is a willingness to observe and to take responsibility for one's internal and external choices. I remember about the word shadow, anything that is hidden, repressed, and denied. And part of my own journey is shining a light. What are those shadows that do not serve me? The shadow of not good enough. So digging deep is knowing that core truth of the who's and who I am, and the who's and who of each and every one of us listening or watching. Self-awareness is the foundation for conscious choice. It could be done by silent reflection, journaling, spiritual coaching and therapy, and other methods to support growth in self-awareness. I remember Reverend Tony, I believe Susan was in that class, Beyond Limits. They talked about ATM, affirmation, treatment, and meditation. Now, with this concept of evolution, of beginning, ending, or the ending of a beginning, I would like to invite all of us, for those who are on their calls, to unmute yourselves and to put yourselves back on video. And I invite you to type in the chat if you're able, or you can articulate it in word with this one question. And I will write the question in the chat and I will read it as well. As I pause at this moment, my beginnings and endings embodied in love as me look like blank. And I will write it down in the chat. And feel free to type in your answers. I'll repeat again. As I pause, my beginnings and endings embodied in love as me look like blank. So feel free to type or share it by unmuting yourselves. Oops, something is direct here. Let's see, chat. I see people typing in.
You can also raise your hand if you like. I've got my eyes on that. Constance, I see your hand is raised.
Okay, can you hear me?
You could be a little louder.
Well, I could put my headphones in, but I'm not going to.
Oh, no, just when you lean forward is good.
All right. So I'm talking hunched over. Yeah, so the first word that came to me was you. That and it is, I think, for me the biggest journey, because I always don't like the you that I see, which means I don't like the you that's inside, which means it gives me a chance to go inside and figure out what that is, and then I can see you with through the eyes of love.
Thank you. I see Lula says confidence and growing in faith. Thank you. Joan writes the here and now. Peter, seeing the God in everyone. For Margot, it's joy. So as we continue to contemplate, what are the beginnings, endings, or the endings and the beginnings in our own individual and collective lives, knowing that we are embodied as love, however that lands on you right here, right now. I would like to share a quote from Rumi. If I could share it. Rumi says, there is a force within which gives you life. Seek that. In your body lies a priceless gem. Seek that. O wandering soul, if you want to find the greatest treasure, don't look outside, look inside and seek that. So I know there are probably people here for the first time listening or on their recorded lines, but there is a link at the website of Oakland CSL where you can contact a practitioner, share a word of praise or celebration, or something that comes up for you tonight. And this website, this link, will be your access to talk to them, to be that bridge within clarity of the who's and who of who we all are in divine nature. So at this time, I would like to end our presentation. I know we will end with a prayer, a short video at the end. And I would like to invite everyone, if you have any comments, questions that you would like to share in this container, please unmute yourself and open your videos and share.
And my share for you, Sam, is to show you appreciation. Can we collectively show our appreciation to Sam tonight? Thank you so much, Sam. Awesome presentation. Awesome.
Thank Thank
And if
you.
there's anybody out there, we have a few minutes. If you want to share how you feel about what you saw or heard tonight, or have a question for Sam, raise your hand. Peggy will recognize you. We'd love to hear from you.
Alice Herndon, oh, you're clapping.
I have a question, Peggy.
Okay, Deborah.
Actually, it is a comment. First of all, I want to say thank you, Sam. You are awesome. You've always been awesome to me. But in addition to that, I had an opportunity to look at TV today at 1 o'clock and listen to Billy Porter. And so much of the story of which you spoke about was also his story as well. And so what I want to refer back to was what, who was it? Reverend Savannah talked about in terms of the pain of getting to freedom and what it stood for. Paul, can you give me that acronym again?
PAIN.
Yes.
I believe it's pay attention inward now.
Yes. Yes.
And I heard that from Iyanla Van Zandt.
Correct. And what is so powerful about it is, as you were speaking, I was consistently thinking about that acronym and the beauty of your talk tonight. Thank you, because you've touched on so many things, not only in terms of possibly your journey, but journey for many of us as well. So I thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, everyone.
Lula?
Lula has a question.
Yeah.
No, I have a comment. This has been very informative, very inclusive. And the more we tell our stories, the more we see that our stories are the same. The circumstances, the stage may be different, but the story is the same. And the way we get to our truth through these different stories just makes it so rich. But the story, everybody, trying to be who you are in this society, the pain is the same. You may use different words, but the essence of the story is the same. And it was told so beautifully by you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If not,
Margot?
I think Margot.
Margot?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about, I don't know how you found all those people, but thank you so much for bringing them into our sphere here. Just thinking how many brave people push evolution. If this is the theme of evolution and the subject of let's be who we really are, look at our own shadow selves or whatever the task is. I just feel really inspired by your example of speaking your truth to us, and just by the people that you brought tonight makes me, think about my own evolution. So thank you very much, dear Sam.
Thank you. If nobody's going to ask a question or comment, I would like to share Reverend Edward Villon's adaptation of the Serenity Prayer. Some of you probably have read or heard it. He says, "Spirit's wisdom within me gives me the peace to embrace the things I cannot control. Spirit's strength within me gives me the courage to the changes, the things that I can, as well as the wisdom to know the difference between the two. And so I live one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, seeing hardships for what they are. I take this world as it is instead of insisting it to be anything different. Trusting that goodness has made all things possible and perfect. I surrender to what is so, that I may live in peace in this world and the next. And so it is. Thank you, Paul.
And so it is, Sam. Thank you. We're still going to have a little prayer at the end. I'm going to ask you to lead from your heart. But again, let's show some appreciation to our Sam. And I say that with a big heart, our Sam, because you belong to us as we belong to you in our village. And I have some news and announcements to share with all of you that I'd like to do right now that I think you need to know. So Peter, if you can start, I'm ready. On this Sunday, June 20th, Reverend Rafe Ellis is speaking on the Soul's Call with a talk about what is evolution without love. He is currently an female to male transgender minister in CSL, and he's the senior minister at Sierra Center for Spiritual Living in Grass Valley. And he's also on the Centers for Spiritual Living Diversity Inclusion Commission. He's going to be speaking to us this Sunday at 10 with our service that starts at 10 for meditation, and the service starts at 10:30. Next Wednesday night, it's surprise guest. We have a surprise guest. You can check in the Village News when it comes out, or we might tell you ahead of time or not, but it is, let's just go there. It's a surprise guest. Let's be surprised. Next Wednesday night, meditation at 6:30, service at 7. This weekend is the Honoring Freedom Juneteenth Weekend Symposium. If you haven't already signed up for the inspiration-filled weekend, check out the Village News or the events page for the religious link. And please know that Congress just signed a law that says it is now a national federal holiday, Juneteenth. So more to follow in the news. When the president gets home, I'm sure he's going to sign that into law right away. On Thursday, June 24th at 1 p.m., join Reverend Sonny Control Smith for another hour of sacred sharing and listening. You can sign up on the events page. Diversity Circle is coming, not this Friday, but the last Friday of the month, June 25th at 7 o'clock. It is so important, we want to tell you about it early. To honor Pride Month, the guest speaker is Reverend Dr. Mark Wilson, and he'll be speaking on Unapologetically Black, Unashamedly Christian, and Proudly Gay, a Black Baptist preacher's journey with pride. He's Black, Baptist, Christian, and gay, and those are words we rarely hear in the same sentence. Yet these words are real for those whose identities intersect at the corner of race, religion, and sexuality. This diversity circle welcomes participants to take an in-depth look at race and religion in relationship to LGBTQ+ pride through the lens of a Black gay Baptist preacher. Our conversation on diversity will not only challenge participants to explore how race and racism makes one look at pride quite differently, but also will invite participants to share what pride means when it comes to the identities which are most important to their own social and cultural performance. It's on a love offering basis. It's every month, last Friday, Diversity Circle. Check out the events page. Also, the East Bay Church of Religious Science is offering 5 summer classes. You can see them right there. 2 of the classes are in person and 3 are online. All of them are certified classes and are designed for you to take a leap forward in your spiritual journey. So you can check out our website or theirs for more information, But if you're interested in registering, you will need to register through their website, ebcrs.org, current classes as shown. We're moving forward with reopening, no date yet, but it's going to be soon. And we need volunteers willing to be inside and help on a Sunday morning. Please contact Zoe DeMuro, who's on the call, at zodemuro@gmail.com. Also, check your chat. There's stuff coming through chat if you want to read it as we go through these last messages. As part of reopening, we're looking for someone with video and production skills to work with the AB team for several weeks or longer once we reopen. For more details, please contact our Constance. She's on the call tonight. And you can reach her at constance@oaklandcsl.org. A couple of things I think it's noteworthy. I said I had some news. I'm going to tell you now. We would like you to save the date of Saturday, September 4th. It is going to be Reverend Jeff's memorial here at Oakland Center. There'll be more in the Village News about this on Sunday announcements, but we'd like you to reserve Saturday, September 4th if you would like to join us for our beloved Reverend Jeff's Memorial Center, and it will be live in person at the Oakland Center. Also, between now and then, if you want to be more intimate setting with our villagers, we've got 3 great things that are the blood and heartbeat of our center going on right now. The Noontime Spiritual Journey meets Monday through Friday for our half or a little bit more than a half hour of fellowship and spiritual enrichment as we follow along the daily readings of Dr. Dan Morgan. Practitioner Susan Brecker, I think she's on the call tonight also, is leading an in-person small group every Tuesday from 3 to 4 in the courtyard. And practitioner Zoe DeMuro is leading an online small group on Thursdays at 6:30. All of these groups explore the readings for the week, and we also do Dr. Dan on a daily basis, and enjoy the connections the gathering affords. Information on all these groups are on our events page at the website, because oaklandcsl.org is the website where everything is that you need to know with what's going on at the center. I'd like to thank Zoe for doing our grounding prayer during our pre-service meeting today. I'd also like to thank Peggy for hosting the meditation at the beginning at 6:30. And I want to thank this Zoom team. I pause and do a little involution when I think about them. And Sam, you're a member of our Zoom team as well in the past. Tonight you're on the stage like I was a couple of weeks ago, but I do a little involution around those that provide service here at the center. And they hardly get a lot of recognition. And this would not be possible without them. This Wednesday night and our Sunday services. Under the strong, fabulous leadership of Constance Chapman and the divine wisdom of audiovisual of Peggy Cotton, Peter Palm up in Portland, the fabulous Sage in Lake Tahoe, and the ever-loving Alice Herndon was here tonight, all working behind the scenes. So I want to thank them give them a big, big gratitude. Thank you, guys. I celebrate you. You make my life so much easier, and you're so wonderful. So thank you for your service helping us. That's all the announcements. Thank you all for attending. And if you're new and a first-time attendee, definitely go to our website, bottom left-hand corner of the homepage. You can submit your email and start getting our weekly Village News that tells you what's coming up during the week. Sam, fantastic presentation tonight. Just fantastic. We'll need to circulate it out in the community because Constance will post it, next Monday, Constance? I think you post the Wednesday night. So one day next week, it'll be out there on our YouTube channel. Please send your friends to it. It's worth the trip, I say. So Sam, if you're willing, would you close us out in prayer?
I sure will. Thank you, Paul. So before I pray, I invite you to do a little bit of bioenergetics. Try to rub your palms like this together, vigorously if you can, if you're willing and able. Make that friction until it becomes warm. And then with your dominant hand, touch your heart. And your other hand, touch the screen or face the screen. So divine love as me, right here, right now. I am pausing. We are all in pause in this container and those in a recorded line or in their phones, knowing that there is only one life, one breath, one mind. And that mind is my mind right here, right now. It is God's mind, the divine essence that we embody, knowing that the who's and who of who we truly are as we navigate through the journey of the pause, the beginnings of the endings or the endings of new beginnings, and in whatever and how that ever manifests in our life, knowing that it is all in divine order. We are here not by coincidence, but here because of the essence of the Spirit calling us to be here, to receive what we need to hear and take. I thank and articulate gratitude with all of us giving our whole selves, and I release this word in the ethers of the universe, knowing that it is already received and already unfolding in our deepest recesses of our hearts. And so it is.